Hey guys, welcome to Sports Talk, and in today's episode we're going to talk about a combination of the first about week and a half of the NHL season and the middle-ish part of the baseball playoffs heading into the championship series between, in the National League, the Dodgers and the Cubs after the Cubs won in 5 against the Nats and the Dodgers swept the Diamondbacks, and then the Astros and Yankees matchup following the Yankees come back against the Indians in dramatic fashion, and the Astros winning in Boston in 4. But first of all, we'll start with hockey, and I'm just having the standings pulled up right over here. And I'm just looking and trying to see what some of the headlines that I thought of throughout the first week were. Obviously, a huge one, as I'm looking at the Eastern Conference first, was the Washington Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin with hat tricks in back-to-back periods. That was just insane when I watched the highlights for that. A surprise coming out of the Metropolitan was the New Jersey Devils. I was kind of shocked to see them second with 6 points in 4 games. Obviously, 3-1-0, not incredible, and there's an 82-game season for a reason. It's 4 games, although it's a good start, isn't going to be the end-all, be-all of the year. Columbus, haven't watched much of them, but they faced a Rangers team today on Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. They won 3-1, so good on them. But New York's really toward the bottom, as I had to scroll all the way to 15th in the Eastern Conference for the New York Rangers. But honestly, no reason to hit the panic button yet because it's literally week 2, so you're chilling. Detroit handed Las Vegas their first loss today, 6-3. And speaking of Vegas, what a ceremony that they did have at the T-Mobile Arena following that tragedy that occurred. My eyes almost welled up after that ceremony. It was really tear-jerking, honestly. 2 teams that I expected to be in the Atlantic lead, Toronto and Tampa, but definitely not looking up to Detroit. Detroit's had a pretty good start, 4-1 in the first 5, and again handed Las Vegas their first loss. Their next game is in Tampa on Monday. Ottawa, Pittsburgh sitting in the wild card spots. Pittsburgh hasn't done too well. 2-1, but again, it's just week 2, nothing to really get any sort of worrisomeness about. A couple of teams that I expected to be kind of floating around the wild card, but not quite there. Carolina, they lost to Columbus on Tuesday, I want to say. The Islanders lost to Anaheim on Wednesday. I expected them to kind of float in the middle. I expected Boston and Montreal to be a little bit better. But again, although they're both sitting pretty low with both 2 points, only one win on the year, I don't really expect them to struggle too much longer. I think they'll definitely pick it up. Montreal, tough game in Chicago, and then New York losing to Columbus. Buffalo, kind of expected to sit toward the bottom. They come to Los Angeles to visit the Kings tomorrow, which is where I live. Go Kings. But switching gears to the Western Conference, Colorado has kind of been a shock, 4-1. They beat Anaheim today, outshot them by a pretty decisive margin. Only won the game 3-1, but and the goal they gave up, I believe, was shorthanded. But then 2 mainstays toward the top of the Central, St. Louis and Chicago. Of course, you're going to see the Blues and the Blackhawks towards the top. Moving over to the Pacific, Las Vegas is at the top. They just got their first loss, obviously, today, as we talked about, Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. Calgary, I expected to do pretty well this year. They just beat the Kings recently, and then tonight they got thrashed by Ottawa 6-0. Kings' latest game was 4-3 in overtime, lost to Calgary, unfortunately, but, what are you going to do? Anaheim and Nashville, 2 teams that I expected to be a little bit better toward the middle of the year once all this gets sorted out, but right now they're in a decent place, about 500, 2 wins, 2 losses, and then an overtime loss to add for Anaheim, which gives them that extra little point boost. Only really about 2 surprises that aren't doing so well right off the opening of the gate. Edmonton and Minnesota. Winnipeg I thought would be right around there, maybe a little bit higher. Vancouver I thought would be right around there. San Jose right around there. Dallas hovering maybe a little bit higher than second to last. I think Vegas will fall off eventually, unfortunately for Vegas. However, I mean, most people kind of expected that to occur at some point, I'm sure, as they are an expansion franchise. I mean, I would love to see them do well personally. I'm an optimist in that way. But a team like Arizona, I think they're a little bit better than some people give them credit for. They lost to Detroit at home last night, I believe, 4-2. So, you know, not too bad to start. I mean, obviously no wins yet, and I believe they're the only team. Oh no, Buffalo has no wins as well, visiting the Kings tomorrow. So just kind of a start to the regular season. So Washington leads the Metropolitan, Detroit leads the Atlantic, Colorado leads the Central, and Vegas leads the Pacific, which I think really only one team out of those four has a chance to stay as the division leader for any long period of time, and I think that's Washington. Detroit, I just don't see it happening. I don't think they have the goaltending and the overall skill. There's youth there, but a lot of their core is getting old. Colorado, I just don't see it, especially with competition like the Blues and the Blackhawks and the Stars and the Jets and the Predators and the Wild. I mean, there's just every team in the Central seems to be pretty good. Vegas, again, I don't really see it happening. I see Edmonton or Anaheim taking the Pacific. But I think it's been a really exciting first week and a half or so of hockey, I guess, because it's, October 13th, and it started the 5th, 4th, something like that. So it's really chugging along now, like 8 or 9 days, maybe 10 of hockey. So, I'm really excited. But now switching gears to baseball with my Dodgers gear on. I have a Dodgers hat on too, but just trust me on it. But I guess I'll pull up the MLB right now, but it was, oh my god, the 2 5-game series, one in the AL, the Yankees and Indians, and one in the NL, the Cubs and Nats. Those were incredible games. I mean, game 5 between the Cubs and the Nationals, holy cow. Like, holy crap, that was a really good game. I mean, for when it was 4-1 after Michael Taylor hit the 3-run jack, and everyone in Washington's like with their towels and getting all mad crazy. And then, I mean, Chicago, just the outburst. And then Washington gets, who was it? Lobatone gets picked off at first in the 8th. And they were chugging too. They could have tied the game there with first and second 2 out. But anyways, so the matchups for today/tomorrow, the Yankees opened up with a loss in Houston. The only run, I believe, was a Greg Bird solo shot for the Yankees. I mean, but Houston wasn't super productive either, and they were really productive in the first round against Boston. I mean, don't you remember when they outscored them 16-4 in the first 2 games of the ALDS in Texas? So, I mean, they really, as the offensive juggernaut that they are, didn't really show that today against the Yankees. But I expected against a different pitcher instead of Tanaka they're going to have an outburst. I mean, Houston is too good at offensively to just score 2 runs. Like, they're going to come out tomorrow and go guns blazing at home probably. They already have the 1-0 lead, obviously. And then game 1 of the NLCS tomorrow between the Cubs and Dodgers. I'm going to be watching, obviously. So, yeah, just a preview of that. The only pitcher we know is Kershaw for game 1. So the Cubs haven't announced theirs yet. Obviously, games 2, 3, and 4 they also announced. So it's going to be Hill in game 2, Darvish in game 3, and then Alex Wood in game 4. And then obviously from there, it just depends on how the first 4 games go. The 2 in LA, and then 2 out of the next 3 in Chicago. So I'm really excited to see how that turns out. And game 1 is tomorrow for the NLCS, and game 2 is tomorrow for the ALCS. So I'm really excited to see how those results. So I guess we could go back to the NHL really quick and just look at the future games for tomorrow. We should have a pretty decent sized slate because there weren't too many games today from what I No, so the Hurricanes visit the Jets. That's not exactly blockbuster matchup of the century. I mean, the Hurricanes are 1-0-1, the Jets are 2-2-0, but I generally lean towards the home side, so I'll probably give it to the Jets in that one. The Maple Leafs visiting the Canadiens, always a great rivalry game. I see the Maple Leafs going in to the Bell Center and beating Montreal. The Blues visit the Lightning. This is interesting, actually. Pietrangelo for St. Louis actually has 8 points. Tarasenko 3 goals. Pietrangelo leads in assists with 6. Nikita Kucherov has 7 points, 4 goals, and Alex Killorn has 6 assists. So some pretty high-flying offenses there. I remember on opening night, St. Louis beat Pittsburgh like 5-4. Like, that was a really great game. Next, the Devils visit the Rangers. I think the Rangers are really going to get it going. All 5 of Mika Zibanejad's points are goals. So, I mean, if he can keep that going, the Rangers won't lose for too much longer. The Capitals visit the Flyers. I mean, Ovi's just an insane... Is he human? I don't know. So, they're 3-1, but... I mean, obviously, Alex Ovechkin, 9 of his 10 points are goals as well, so... And he scored, 6, 7 in, like, a couple of periods, so... Of, like, back-to-back games. Not in the same game, but you know what I'm saying. So I would take the Capitals in that one. The Panthers visit the Penguins. I think the Penguins will kind of get on track now and start putting some wins together, so I think they'll win that game. Avalanche visit the Stars. I would give it to the Stars because, I don't know, I think Colorado's luck is going to run out pretty soon. I mean, 4-1 to start is great, but 82 games, I don't know. The Blue Jackets visit the Wild. The Wild are 1-1, which is crazy, but I would say the Wild would win that one. Chris Stewart has been quite the story to start. 4 goals, holy cow, in 3 games. And 5 points as well. Zucker, the 2 assists, are the assist leader for Minnesota. And then Panarin with 3 assists for the Blue Jackets. And I believe, did he score a goal? I think he scored a goal so far. So I would take the Wild on that. I always go with the home ice if I'm not quite sure. The Predators visit the Blackhawks. I'm going to give that to... The Blackhawks. United Center's always rocking. They're 3-1-1. They should win. Bruins visit the Coyotes. I think the Coyotes are going to stay winless through tomorrow night. I think the Bruins are going to go into the desert and beat them up. The Flames visit the Canucks. The Flames got, as we talked about earlier, slammed by Ottawa earlier. So I see them bouncing back off that game and beating the Canucks in Vancouver. The Senators visit the Oilers. I think the Oilers will win that game. I think McDavid's going to have quite the game. I mean, 4 points through 4 games really isn't McDavid-like, so I think he's really going to pick it up. The Sabres visit the Kings. I mean, obviously, maybe a little biased, but I'm going to take the Kings just because, you know, the Sabres are 0-3-1, and they played San Jose, I think it was, 2 days ago, or yesterday, because today is Friday, the 13th, and they barely beat San Jose. Both of them winless squads, so I mean, that was kind of a toss-up. You know, someone has to win. So I thought that was kind of like a throw-up game, like just toss it up, toss a coin, you know, flip it and see what happens. And San Jose actually took the win by, I believe, just 1 goal. And then, not the most blockbuster matchup either, but the Islanders 1-2-1 visit the Sharks 1-2-0. I give that to the Sharks. I mean, the stats aren't impressive for either team, but I see the Shark Tank getting fired up and the Sharks winning by a few goals. I think their bigger name players, the Joes, Pavelski and Thornton, are really going to get revved up and going, because LeBlanc has really... LeBlanc, sorry, I can't even speak, has really been the only offensive, like, producer so far, and he played very well on opening night against the Flyers with 2 goals. Hasn't done much since, but he played very well in that game. Obviously, they lost. But, yeah, that's kind of the preview for tomorrow's games, and I never really picked the MLB games. I think Houston probably takes a 2-0 lead tomorrow at home. I'm confident in them. I think that after just a 2-run performance today, they're going to really break out tomorrow. It just seems right, you know, because with a team that scores so many runs during the regular season, it just doesn't seem quite right for them to, you know, stay at a 2-run 4 per game pace. So, I mean, like I said, they have Verlander pitching too. Obviously, the Yankees have Severino, 14 and 6, 2.98 ERA, but Verlander 15 and 8, 3.36, and he's a playoff god. And then I'm gonna take the Dodgers with Kershaw. Obviously, got a rep, but like, I'm gonna definitely take the Dodgers with Kershaw. I just think, Kershaw wasn't great in like spectacular in his game against the Diamondbacks in the NLDS, but I mean, a win's a win. So yeah, I'm taking the Astros and Dodgers tomorrow. So I guess we'll see what happens, but that's it for sports talk. Happy Friday, guys. Weekend coming up, long weekend for me. So yeah, I'm going to go to the Kings game this Sunday, and then we're watching the Dodgers get that NLCS going. So see you later. Let's go Dodgers. Go Kings, go.